Double stops are a great way to send the hand to the gym and to really get some muscle going and to get some stability going in the hand. Hey, what's up everybody? I am Johannes Moser and I'm going to talk to you today about double stops. Double stops are a big part of my morning routine. I try to play double stops every day, and I'm just going to show you what kind of double stops I'm practicing and how I'm actually trying to expand on them to make them really universally applicable. First, I start with thirds, and let's say I'll start my day with a C major scale. And so I'm going to start with also double stops in C major. You can then decide if you want to add an extra octave. But you don't have to, of course. But if that feels like something you want to do and you want to get a little bit more secure with your thumb positions, I think it's a good idea to practice those double stops. Now, when I practice my thirds, I try to expand on them and use other finger combinations in order not just to practice the interval of the third, but also to practice the whole hand. So for example, with a third, I'm going to combine that with a fourth and a tritone. And then I go to the next position. Here I combined it with a fourth and a small third, and so on. If you go to the position here with the open A string, you can combine it with a fourth and a second. Just find the combinations that really work well with that position and work well with your hand. You will very soon find out that you're really practicing each position, not just for the finger combination, but for the whole hand, which is really useful. Also, you strengthening your hand quite intensely. So double stops are a great way to send the hand to the gym and to really get some muscle going and to get some stability going in the hand. So if you ever feel that your hand is kind of all over the place, double stops are a great way to get the hand settled. Now the next combination of double stops after thirds would be fourths, which we already included in the thirds. But of course you can also practice them separately. And so on. The next double stops are tritones, which your neighbors are not going to love, but you know, still practice them. And then you go to fifths and make sure that you don't just practice the fifth within the fingers, but also to make sure how you balance the bow. Balancing, of course, is important for all double stops, but especially for fifths. And don't avoid the fourth finger. If anything, practice the fourth finger, but make sure that you're not pressing on the fourth finger with the other fingers. I see that a lot, that people don't really have strength in their fourth finger. So practice the fourth finger by itself. You will need it for Shostakovich, for example. Very important to have a fourth finger that comes with strength and the possibility to play on its own. If your fingers need support in any way, it's like having a lifelong babysitter. You need to be responsible at some point for your own actions, and your fingers need to be able to play double stops just by themselves. We're now moving on to sixths, and within the sixth, I'm again, like in the thirds, I'm trying to combine those with other double stops as well. So I'm going to combine them with a fourth and a tritone. And next, I'm going to combine with a fourth and a small sixth. And so on. So the great thing about this exercise is, again, that I'm practicing the whole hand and I'm really getting a lot of muscle going with those changes as well. You'll feel that you might not even get through a whole octave in the beginning, but if you can expand your reach through the whole scale at some point, you will have really built a lot of muscle. Now again, we're going to a neighbor's favorite, which are sevenths. Of course, the big seventh is even more popular. And then we'll practice octaves. And the octave you can also combine with fourths. For example, if I'm going to start with an E flat, I can combine this with a fourth with the first finger, but also first and second. So on. This is a really good exercise, and you'll feel that your thumb might go, into fatigue mode quite quickly. What you should avoid with a thumb is that you press through, but you should always keep the curve. You should always make sure that you have curved joints and that you don't lock the joints. As soon as you lock the joint, the finger has no chance of being flexible anymore. If you feel adventurous, also practicing seconds would be a good idea together with the thumb. This is, by the way, a great exercise how I practice artificial harmonics. Because what it does is that I have a lot of weight on the upper string, and now I can just simply apply the third finger to the first string, and I have really good harmonics going. It's much better than practicing them with octaves, because with the octave you have the weight of the thumb on the lower string, which actually is not going to be helpful at all for those harmonics. As you can see, practicing double stops is not only helpful for double stops themselves, but it strengthens the hand. It gives you other possibilities in terms of harmonics. It raises your awareness for different kinds of intonation. For example, between a fourth, you have pure intonation. When you go into a sixth, you have Pythagorean intonation, which is a whole different chapter, and I invite you to read into that online or wherever you can find literature about different kinds of intonation. That's very important for double stops. For now, I think what we've tackled is very important. Strengthen your hand. Understand that the hand is a system of different fingers and not just individual notes, and you will have a much more all-encompassing and much more general understanding of cello technique.